Hey everybody, Kat here. Welcome to the channel. It is Saturday morning, and I've got a treat for you. I'm not afraid to delve into a conspiracy theory or things that sound just crazy. Because a lot of times those things turn out to be what's really going on. I mean, just look at our world today and what we know about the World Economic Forum and the plan to take over the world. I mean, all of these, and that they, oh, it's a conspiracy theory. But we know these things are true. The whole climate change hoax, everything. But what we're going to talk about today, I mean, here's our question for today. Why Meghan Markle? Exactly. Why? Who is she? What is she? Where did she come from? Why is she on the world stage now? It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. It's not just because of an indulged father that, took care of her every need and covered up her every indiscretion. And, we know all these things. We know her drive and ambition. We know, I mean, even the fact that over the course of the time we think, okay, where everybody kind of jumps into the story is the Yacht Girl days. Young actress, yacht girl, and this is how her connections with Andrew and then with Soho House, and I've done great exposés on the Soho House connection. Go watch those videos. But, I think we're missing something. We're not getting the whole story if we just start with Meghan, even in her college years. Her early 20s. We have to go back much further. This gets so bloody interesting, and here's the thing. Okay. I might be telling you a lot of stuff that you've never heard before, but go research it. It's a real thing. Where to start? Okay. Another question. Why wasn't Meghan a Disney kid? What we know about Disney, going back from its very inception, the man himself was a PDF kind of person. Did you know there's actually a private secret club at Disney? I think it's called Club 51 or something like this anyway, where apparently crazy shit goes on. The kind of stuff you hear about that goes on in places like Soho House and other establishments that cater to the elite that have a certain predilection for small humans. And what's Disney all about? Small humans. Who are the Disney kids? Well, people like Christina Aguilera, Justin Timberlake, Britney Spears, lots of other kids. And I mean, you can go back another 30 years and you've got the starlets of those days, and you got to look at what happened to these kids, right? Brought in at an early age, sexualized really early. They were completely controlled. There's a thing called monarch programming that has been documented, and they say, oh, well, we don't do that anymore. We don't do that anymore, but we did, but we don't do it anymore. Well, they do it anymore. This is the process by which they entrap a lot of children that they're going to use in places like the entertainment industry. It's been proven. Research it. I can't go into everything here, and YouTube won't let me say everything. But it's all around you. They bring the young children in. They program them. They break them down so that they're merely little robots. Little robots to do the bidding of their elite controllers. And this is how a lot of them are controlled in Hollywood and in the music industry and stuff like this. And if you do enough research about this kind of thing, what you discover is that in a lot of them, the programming starts to break down in their early 30s. Once they're a little more removed from their programmers, they've grown up. And this is a real thing. I'm not joking you. Research this and you will discover it. It's a real thing. And I mean, we can see that with, oh, good grief. Just look at Britney Spears, her meltdowns, her odd behavior. She looked like a crazy person. And they all said, oh, split personality, she's got to go to rehab, she's had, all of these things. Well, what you discover when you research this kind of stuff as well is that rehab is indeed sort of code word for reprogramming, We saw this with some interviews with Eminem like 20 years ago. He just completely shuts down like a robot and is like, where are you? Where are you? Are you in there? And he's just, standing there stunned. This kind of stuff is real. This kind of stuff happens. This whole programming Disney thing, it's a real thing. You have to really look at it. And like I've said before, that the P word with small humans, that kind of activity, sadly to say, is the currency of the elite. Whether it's politics, business, entertainment, Hollywood, the whole shebang. So, where does Meghan fit in to all of this, right? Well, here's the thing. And I mean, I thought about this. I've been thinking this for a long time, and I was like, putting it around in my head, and how do I say this, and how do I bring this up, and do I really have any confirmation of my theory of what went on? And I did get a little bit of confirmation today by the way of the newest video by the Royal Grift. And in there, she's talking about the inconsistency with Meghan's story and how right from the start, when she was introduced to the public, how her timeline and everything was manipulated. But what I got out of the video, which was great, TRG is great, was an interesting connection that only kind of solidifies my thoughts about the whole thing. And this is in the photographs. There's pictures of another little girl, Meghan's friend, Scarlet Rouge. Now, Scarlet Rouge is the daughter of Michelle Lamy, who is close to Marina Abramovic. And if you haven't heard of her, Google her. She's disgusting. She's like a, conceptual artist, right? With a very demonic streak. And a few years ago, when the whole Pizzagate thing came out, she was brought to light. She's always been behind the scenes with the elites and the entertainment industry and government politics and everything. She is known for her spirit cooking, a satanic practice involving different bodily fluids and satanic spells to manifest things. I mean, she's just a very scary person. But what you discover if you do any kind of research at all into the music industry, into the entertainment industry, into politics, anything, you find the P word is a commonality, and you find these satanic practices is a commonality as well. I mean, when a few years ago, when Marina Abramovich came to public attention, people in the Clinton government were exposed as having dinners with her and planning these dinners that included spirit cooking and spells. I mean, very occult satanic practices. And those names popped up. She was the sort of star attraction and did the food for Museum of Fine Art, I think, in Los Angeles or something like this. And this was around the same time, quite a few years ago, though. But, and they had this giant cake on this table, but it was shaped like a human. And when it was made, as to the spirit cooking, there was like blood and other bodily things included in the recipe. And you had people there like Debbie Harry and other entertainers just lauding Abramovich like she was, you know, they're all involved. This is what I've been telling you. This is a key thing you got to understand, that they're all crazy and satanic and anything goes. And here's the thing, okay? So there's some background for you. So she's already got a connection to Abramovich, whom, as we now know, has wide appeal and recognition among lots of high-powered elites, government and entertainment. She's well known in those circles. Now you take Meghan's father, a lighting genius, double Emmy winner, Hollywood guy. Due to circumstances that are still murky, Doria was unavailable for a lot of years in Meghan's younger, you know, formative years, and she lived with her father, and there's been lots of, you know, after school, she spent all this time on the set and just kind of hanging out. And this kind of thing. Well, I mean, when you hear the stories of other young actors, not even actors, Hollywood children, you know, hanging out at the set, the people they run into, the things. I think Meghan was exposed to some of the stuff. Her father was, you know, kind of part of the group. He was an Emmy winner. He was well known. Could his daughter have been, you know, utilized? Perhaps. I think so. I think perhaps. I think this is one of the reasons why Thomas Markle doesn't talk about those times too often, and why Meghan doesn't talk about those times too often. Because I think stuff happened. I think stuff happened. I do. And so what that does with the research that I've done as they get older, I mean, then these kind of, we know now. I mean, look at her behavior now. Even as a married woman in her 40s, she's over sexualized. She's always dressed inappropriately. Look at her recent behavior in Colombia, that, she making eyes and flirting and hugging and kissing the vice president's partner. And that last clip we saw of her, at that dance, and she wanders up to him, and he's whispering intimately, and all of a sudden, Garcia comes out of nowhere and, kind of gets herself between her partner and Megan. Harry comes from the other direction and grabs Megan's arm and pulls her away. I mean, it's just horribly embarrassing behavior. We've heard from sources that Megan will do whatever you want her to do. She's over-sexualized. She understands that sex is currency. She also understands that she's in something, and behaves a certain way because it's been programmed into her. And has there been a breakdown with Megan? Has there been a breakdown? There probably was, and I think it may have occurred around the time that her breakup with Trevor Engelson. She was living in Toronto. They were apart. She didn't have the same people around her that she did at the time. And that kind of distance and everything, that can break the programming. She goes a little bit crazy, and she realizes she's got to get out on her own, and that's why there was a big push. But the hypersexualization that had been programmed into her at some point stayed as sort of it's a behavior flaw with her. And this is one way you can kind of recognize that at some point in her formative years there was probably some interference. And that is why there's a lot of secrecy around those kind of things, because, and here you go. Megan might well, be aware of that now. She knows what happened. I mean, she's over-sexualized. She's got to get the man, got to have because I think that's part of just her it's part of her personality. She's just a bit trampy. That's just how it is now. But it got me to thinking, and it makes sense. What could she have to hold over her father to such a degree as we've seen the manipulation? And this could be it. Now, I'm not saying that he interfered with her directly. Not at all. Doesn't have to be that way. But he may have allowed something. I don't know. I'm only speculating because of things I've researched, and this seems to happen all the time. And the adults know, right? So could this be some of the cards that Megan's holding? I'm thinking it's a possibility. I mean, anything is bloody possible. And you look at, and I mean, thanks to TRG again for bringing this association to the light. And we know that Abramovich is in deep with all the elites and all the power people and entertainment people, because they're all involved. Because like I've said, that's the currency that runs bloody everything, man. It is. It's disgusting. And the gaps in Meghan's younger years, her yacht girl stuff, getting involved in Soho House, which is just an amplification of that, indeed, and the way she's behaving now, and her hold over her family members. Could I be onto something? I think I might be. I don't know. I guess we'll wait and see. We got to look at this further. But I really think there's something there. Anyway, that's it for today. Hope you liked this video. Leave me a comment, like and subscribe. Share this video. And we'll see you in the next one. Thanks, everybody.